two buddies. Okay, so I'm here with IKKI. Let me put him up because he's so cute. Look at the cute face. Look at how cute. He looks adorable, guys. He definitely needs a new face up because his nose is already peeling. That's because I play with him a lot. Look how cute he is, though. Like, how could you not want to play with him? Look at him. These little kitty ears. Shut up, Nathaniel. Nathaniel doesn't want to play with him. IKKI doesn't even think you're hot, okay?
It's like, I'm just kidding.
The only guy he's interested in is Toma.
Uh-huh.
So, I'm going to do IKKI's story because I had a lot of fun writing it and because I know a lot of people have been waiting for this. You ready? You ready? I'm ready. You guys ready? All right.
I'm fucking ready, man.
So, IKKI was born, well, let me go back. His mother was a famous violin player from London. And she toured all over the world, but she fell in love during her tour into Tokyo. She met a young man who became quite popular, and he played piano. He's half American, half Japanese, and he was getting popular really fast. And he was like so talented that he could basically play after hearing just hearing one note or hearing like the sound of something. If he heard a melody, he could just play it. Just by hearing it one time, he could play it. So they fell in love when she had him open for when she was on tour, and she had him open for one of her shows. So I guess she wasn't on tour yet, but she had a show in Tokyo, and he opened, and they fell in love. Anyway, so she invited him to go on tour with her. So they toured for like a year, and they fell in love, and they started dating, and they got married, and then she had this one. So he spent most of his toddler years in England, and he was mostly homeschooled because his parents thought, it'd be better for him. He grew up on music. When he was 3, his father taught him the piano, and when he was 5, his mother bought him a violin. So IKKI mostly played piano and violin like his parents, and he would have to play every day. Every day he would have to play a little bit of, he would play either one of them or he'd play both of them, but he had to play every day. He was quite small with brown eyes and light brown hair, and his father had become really, really famous, like, because his mom kind of stopped doing music so that she could take care of IKKI, and then his father became like super famous because his father kind of like took over everything. So they became so famous. He became so famous that he was like, let's move back to Japan. So when they moved back to Japan, IKKI was already like, I want to say he was like 14 or 15 at this time. And he was really, really excited because he got to finally go to a school with other kids his age. He got to make friends. So he was super duper duper excited. This music makes me want to dance. Okay, so he was really excited. And he got his uniform and he was like, what the hell is this? This is boring. So he decided, I'm going to decorate it. He put ribbons and gems because IKKI's like colorful boy. He's not really a fashionista. He just kind of does whatever he likes. And he likes bright, colorful, fun colors. He's not Fairy Kai. He's not. He's like a raver. So he pulled out his permanent markers and he drew pictures and he decorated with gems and ribbons, and his like a white button up. That's boring. So he decorated it. And he was like, I never wear plain clothes unless it's like a gala or a special event. So I'm going to be hanging out with kids my age. We're just going to be having fun all day. So he decided to wear something fun. Well, his first day of school, the limo dropped him off and he was introduced to the class. And all the other boys laughed at him and made fun of him and called him mean names. And then in his music classes, it was the same thing. Everybody was mean to him. Even the teachers. The teachers purposely had him go up front of the class. Oh, your mom's famous. had him go in front of the class and play music in his crazy outfit. Here, silence that. In his crazy outfit, just so the other kids could laugh at him. Like, he already was drawing attention with his clothes. And, I mean, it was a school for other rich families. So, they were already butts, basically.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
So, yeah. So, he was really upset. The other kids, he was basically like, he felt like he was the joke of the school. He spent lunch... Wait, let me see. Oh, so he spent that night crying. He cried himself to sleep that night. And so then the next day he wore a boring uniform like the rest of the kids. But it was already like the kids had already made fun of him. He wasn't having a good time. Poor baby. So, just kidding. I dropped the lamp. I love lamp. Just kidding. Not this one. I don't love this lamp, guys. I don't love this lamp, obviously, because I dropped it. Come on, lamp. You have to help me read. All right. Now it's dark. And now it's light. And now it's light again. Okay. Yay! There's light outside. Nikki, where are you going? Okay, so let me find where I lost my place. Okay. The boys were still mean to him. They still made fun of him. So at first he started to spend lunch in the bathroom, but it started to be hard to eat in there. So then he started spending lunch in the library. And in the library, he had his little laptop, and he would record his music, and he would record himself playing his piano and his violin, and then he would upload it. And he would just make videos and post them online. One day, he saw a boy coming out of the audio room. There was this little audio room in there where you could just go and listen to like audiobooks and stuff. So he went in there, there was a boy that came out of there. So he went into the room, and the boy had left a huge mess. There were like CDs all over the place, and he was like, "What's this? What's this?" No, I'm sure he didn't say that, but he was like, "What is this? I've never heard of this band." So then he put it in to listen to it, and what's up? It was music, and he was excited, and he was like, "It's some sort of electric piano with a beat and a clap and drums, and what is this?" So he was super excited. So every day at lunch, he would go and he would sit at a little table in front of the audio room, and he would wait for that boy to come out. And then when he would leave, Ikki would go in there and see what mess he made that day and what new music he could find. So basically, that kid would just bring his own music home and make a mess. So Ikki followed him one day. He was like, "I want to know who this kid is." So he followed him, and he watched him pick on a short, little, skinny, black-haired boy who was sitting with a girl that was kind of sickly. And so Ikki was scared to approach him, but he still followed him anyways. He followed him enough to where he could see him, but not enough to where the boy could see Ikki. So every day he would see the boy go in the room, and after after the boy would leave, Ikki would go back in there. And there was a variety of music that this boy listened to. There was metal and rock and punk and rap rock and techno and electro and hardcore and emo and screamo and country and just everything. This boy listened to everything. So Ikki was like, it was like a music overload. Because at home, Ikki was not allowed to listen to any kind of music that wasn't classical. His parents were like, "This is what we listen to. This is what's proper. Everything else is trash. You listen to this because this is what we play, and this is what you're going to play, and that's it." So Ikki was just like, wow, to hear different music. He was like super excited. So he started to have a love for all types of music, but mostly electric. Anything that sounded like electric guitar or like keyboard or synthesizer, anything like that. He was just excited. Ikki continued to secretly follow the boy. And this time, well, let me see. He followed the boy. The boy had dark brown hair and a baby face. He had blue eyes, and he was kind of muscular, kind of bulky, kind of like buff, but not like fat or not like super muscly, full of muscles, but big enough to hurt Ikki, definitely. So the more Ikki followed him, the more he got to know him, and then the more he started to admire him. But Ikki kept his distance, because this boy was dangerous. Ikki watched him, like, constantly fight with the black-haired boy. And then he would follow him. One time he saw him after school, and he followed him to the park. There's a little park, like, not that far from the school. And Ikki followed him, and he was hiding behind a tree, and he was watching. And this boy would just fight. He just wanted to fight with everybody. He would fight random boys at the park. They would just show up and be like, hey, you. And then they would fight. And Ikki was like, this is crazy. So Ikki was afraid that if the boy saw him, he would fight him too. But this boy also had a way with girls. So sometimes he would take them into the audio room with him. And Ikki was like, I wonder what kind of music they're listening to. And surprisingly, sometimes the staff would go in there with this boy. Not men, but like the school nurse or like some of the teachers. So one day, Ikki was waiting for this boy to come out. And there were those boys from his class that hated him because he was a little bit different and more colorful. And they started talking mess and pushed him up to a bookshelf. And they were like, what's up, sissy boy? What are you doing out here? And Ikki's like, look, I'm just trying to study like everyone else. It's the library. Like, what do you think I'm doing here? Well, when they knocked him down, all the books fell. They knocked him hard into the shelf, and all the books fell on top of him. And, you know, it hurt him. And he was trying to get back up. And one of the boys kicked him in the side. And so Ikki fell over. And then it hurt like hell. So Ikki attempted to get up, and then another boy kicked him. And then this time, the boy had kicked him in the face, so Ikki was crying at this point. He was starting to black out. He was like, no. He's still trying to pick himself up. Then the other boy kicked him. So there's 3 boys. Ikki's on the floor. They're just kicking the crud out of him. And he's just holding his face, crying, because he's like, what did I do? I'm just in here trying to listen to some music and trying to study and be a good boy. And what the hell, guys? So then he hears, the fuck is your problem? Who told you could take something from me? Ikki's like, the hell? It was the boy. Hold on. It was the dark-haired boy from the music room. And he came out and he punched one of the kids in the face. And that boy fell over crying. And he was like, look, all the fights in the school belong to me. You cannot fight somebody without me. I do all the fighting. So if you want to fight me. And they ran. They picked up their friend and they ran. And Ikki's like, oh my God, he's going to fight me. I'm going to die. So, but the boy actually reached out a hand and asked him, are you okay? He helped Ikki up, and Ikki smiled because he was excited that the boy was finally talking to him. He's like, yeah, I think I'm okay. But then he hissed in pain, and he grabbed his side. The boy laughed. Where is it? Oh, I lost it. Oh, bruised ribs probably, he said. He helped Ikki pick up the books, and he started to walk away. Wait, Ikki called. I want to say thank you. The boy turned around and smiled. Ikki blushed. My name is Isaac. Who are you? Because that's Ikki's English name. The boy put 2 fingers to his temple and flicked them forward. Name's Tomatsu. You can call me Toma. So Ikki was excited that he had made friends. Well, pretty soon him and Toma started hanging out a lot. And then Toma would be like, Toma took him in the music room and would play music for him. And he felt really bad that Ikki had never listened to this kind of music. And he was like, what the hell? Like, you're missing out on life. So Ikki became interested in all types of music and all types of instruments. And he wanted to play everything. So he started playing a little bit of everything here and there. And his parents didn't mind because they're like, oh, okay. he's into music like us. He's gonna, he's gonna play music. They were excited. So one day they were hanging out, and Toma was like, "Do you ever play the keyboard?" And he's like, "What's that?" And Toma was like, "How do you not know what a keyboard is?" So Toma actually like brought him a keyboard from his house, and Ikki loved it because it was like all the instruments in one. So he was excited. He's like, "I could play everything on this." So then Ikki started to just come over to Toma's house, and he would play keyboard, and Toma would play guitar. And they wrote a few songs together. They had their own little like teenage band where they wrote music. And then they would play music, and then afterwards Toma would teach him how to fight a little bit, because Toma's like, "You need to stand up for yourself." So Toma started fighting him, and then it became the whole, "I'm just gonna beat your ass every day when I see you so that you can learn to fight." So, because that's Toma's way. So yeah, that was how they greeted each other. They would just fight for a little bit, and then they would get back to their music. And they did a few shows, but then let's see. One day they were not okay. Well, so Ikki's parents found out about the shows, and they found out about the kind of music he was playing, and they did not approve, and they got angry, and so they wouldn't let him hang out with Toma anymore. He wasn't allowed, and that kind of sucked. So Ikki would just hang out with his laptop, and he started downloading stuff and learning how to play online with different programs. So then, because he wasn't allowed to hang out with Toma, people started picking on him again. So this time, boys got in his face, and Ikki was like, "Please, just leave me alone." And they surrounded him. 3 different boys. "Please, just leave me alone," Ikki said again. And the biggest boy pushed him, but Ikki stood his ground, and he put his fist up like Toma had taught him. And the boy swung, and Ikki dodged, and he was surprised that he dodged it, but as he dodged it, he elbowed the other boy in the face, and that boy went down. The second boy swung, and Ikki dodged again, and he uppercutted that one. So the boys got up and they ran, because they were like, "Okay, here's this dorky little tiny kid that is beating our ass." So they took off running. And then Ikki was just standing there, out of breath, with his fist still in the air. What the hell just happened? Did I really just fight somebody? And Toma came out of nowhere and was like, "Great job. Welcome to the Green Stripes." Ikki laughed. "Is that really what you're going to call your gang?" "Hell yeah, I am. And you're the first member," he laughed. So after that, every fight that Toma was into, he brought Ikki along. And Ikki would just watch, and if, other friends started jumping in to fight Toma, Ikki had his back. So that was kind of their thing. He started sneaking out so that he could hang out with him anyway. So then the Green Stripes were formed, and it was just Toma and Ikki for a while, and then there were 6 boys, and then there was 16, and then there was 25, and then Toma just became like the top boy, the top fighter on that side of town. And he also gave him the name Ikki because it was Japanese, it sounded close enough to his name, and it sounded cool. That's how he got his name. So, bless you.
Thanks.
Sorry, Nathaniel's here.
Yeah.
So Ikki got a phone call from the hospital. His parents told him, "Your friend is in the hospital. You should probably go see him." So Ikki ran out to the hospital because Toma was injured in a fight. And he ran up to the emergency, freaking out. And he saw Toma coming out with a bandage over his face. And Ikki was really upset. And he was like, "Oh my God, what the hell happened? Who are they? Let's get them." And Toma just laughed and was like, "Yeah, you should see those other guys." And then Toma explained to him that he had been jumped by these boys from another school, from another side of town. They were after him because he was the best fighter on that side. And they came with a knife and they got him. So he pulled the bandage up, and Ikki could see where Toma was injured. And Toma just smiled and said, "You think girls would give me like sympathy sex for this? And Ikki just laughed. Like, are you kidding me? Nothing could stop Toma. When it came to the girls, Toma never backed down. So Ikki was just like, oh yeah, you're fine. But Toma never came back to school. And it had been like a couple weeks and Ikki was really worried. So Ikki went to Toma's house and Toma's mom opened the door. And Ikki was like, what happened? And she told him, well, because of the fight, you know, we sent him to military school. Well, Ikki tried to keep up the green stripes by himself, and he couldn't do it. They didn't have their leader, so they kind of just started to just do their own thing. They were still fighting, but they were doing their own thing. So then Ikki would just spend nights playing on his computer and making music, and soon he was able to buy his own keyboard, and soon he was able to like mess with these programs. And then when he got a little bit older, he bought himself some turntables, and he was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna mix and do some crazy stuff. Then he started posting his music onto YouTube, and he made some YouTube videos of himself playing, and he actually became really popular. So when he was about 18, he made an album. He was like, why not? I'll make my own little album. So he did some recordings of his music and he made an album, and it sold more than he thought it was gonna sell. It was actually like sold out. So he was surprised. So he became really popular. His music was being more and more requested, and then he had been requested to tour Japan. So he was like, yeah, I'm gonna tour Japan. The next time that he saw Toma was actually at Toma's funeral. Toma's father's funeral, not Toma's funeral. Toma's still alive. Toma's father's funeral. That was when he saw Toma again, because he was touring and he got the call. So his family went to say, you know, their condolences. So he walked up to Toma, and Toma was like, I gave him a serious look and was like, I'm back, and I'm getting the stripes back together. And so then Ikki smiled. I'm right there with you, boss. And that's Ikki's story. So, I mean, he went on tour, and he became famous, but he still, when he's home, he does stripes stuff with Toma, because Toma's his bestie, and he's got his back, right? Yeah. Huh. Hope you guys liked his story. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I shall answer you. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Say bye, Ikki. Bye. Bye. And I'll be posting some awesome pictures of him too. Bye.